Welcome to the Badger Beer Report, the Brewery Report for April 30th, 2025. And we were just here last week, y'all. And, well, we're back because we got news. I'm having some nerve brewing, y'all. A berry wheat. And while I have this, I will talk to my friend and brewery authority, in-house brewery authority here at the Badger Beer Report, my friend Joel Geyer. What's up, Joel? How you doing?
Good. How are you, Greg? And I just realized that I grabbed the same beer from last time we did this. That's how close together we've been. I just realized that. So I am still sipping on. I'm still sipping on the Pastel Prairie Belgian table beer from Gathering Place, one of their small batch series. So is what it is. But as you just kind of alluded to, I think I made the joke last time that they were going to be sick of us, in particular me, since, I do too much talking. And so sorry about this, guys. I'm not joking. I think it was the next day we found out about another opening. And shortly after, with some other conversations we had, which you'll talk about later, we found out about some more. Mm-hmm. And then we also had a couple announcements about new locations and moving locations, and there's a lot going on right now, and similar to last show, we're going to be all positive news today. And hopefully we can keep that trend continuing, but it's a wild time right now for the Wisconsin craft beer scene. I think when we first did this first show, like I said, we did not imagine that we would ever do 3 shows in 1 month. And that's just the way things have fallen. Don't get used to it, I guess, but who knows? But I guess we can go ahead and jump into this here. Let's go. First up, we have the first one that, like I mentioned, this was the one that we found out about literally the day after we recorded. And most of all the ones that we're talking about are breweries that have been in the works longer than just this last week, obviously. But as we talk about on the show, oftentimes, it's hard, especially in a lot of these smaller communities, not everything necessarily makes the big news. And so trying to keep track of it all can be tricky. And we're grateful that we now have some, we have some contacts that are helping move the ball. But in this case, we were able to stumble upon this, and we're excited about this one for sure. Tailwinds. Mm-hmm. It is going to be located in Union Grove, and you'll notice that most all of what we're talking about today is going to be in smaller communities that don't already have a brewery, which is really cool. So this is going to be right downtown Union Grove. It's going to be a new build, which is another theme that you will see throughout this evening. So Tailwinds, as you can kind of see, there's a little airplane on it. And the owners, Rick and Carolyn McNabb, they actually had a travel business prior to this. It was called Tailwind Destinations.
So?
Oh, yeah.
Hi. I lost you for a minute, or maybe not.
Can you hear me now, Greg?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Go right ahead. Can you see me? Tailwinds, y'all. And
can you hear me, Greg?
Yeah. Yep. Can you hear me?
No.
Oh no.
Hold
on. So Tailwinds, y'all. Like Joel said, new build. Just came on our radar though. They've been in development for a pretty long time here. I would say 3 or 4 years. I think Joel's going to have those numbers once he gets back. Rick and Carolyn McNabb.
Hey,
what's up?
How's it
going? Little technical difficulties here, y'all. We'll work through them.
Yeah.
But this is what happens when you go live TV.
Yep. Are we good?
Like Joel's getting back here. Tailwinds Brewery. Union Grove, y'all, between Racine in Burlington.
Yes. Can you hear me now, Greg? Am I
we
good
will
to go?
Pause here and wait for Joel to get back.
Oh, okay.
Thank y'all for y'all patience while we have a little bit of technical difficulties, but this is live and this is what you'll have live. I think I see Joel. I think I hear Joel. And I think Joel can take up where he just. Yes, excellent. Union Grove. That's where I think.
Yes. Can you? Are we good? We're good now.
I can hear you.
Perfect. Alrighty. Yeah. Sorry. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, yeah. So new build. I was talking about Rick and Carolyn McNabb. They had a really cool travel business prior to this called Tailwind Destinations, and they led brewery tours in Scotland and Belgium. So they really have been around the block. And it says that with this brewery, that one thing that they were doing while traveling was that they were always, taking notes, because they did kind of have the idea in their head about, if they were ever to open up a brew pub, things they would want, things they wouldn't want. So yeah, they're really into the traveling aspect, and the tap room is essentially, like in the name, talks about their passions about traveling and brewing beer. So I know you and I have kind of talked a little bit about what we think, some of the tap room stuff. So yeah, if you'd want to discuss some of that'd be great.
So yeah, the tap room is going to be very much like wow, am I not here now?
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. Tap room is going to showcase a lot of their airline collectibles that they've collected over the years. They have this I think Joel could talk to this a little bit more. They have this flag that they have from a retired
747
airplane. Yeah, that I believe Rick piloted. So they have that. They're gonna have memorabilia from from all the different kinds of what they've picked up over the years being flight people.
And they also said I was going to just interject quick. They also said that they were going to be rotating stuff, is what I read. So that they said that one of their goals was to have different things in the tap room, and to change things out. So that way, when people were visiting them multiple times, you wouldn't just be looking at the same things all, every visit.
Yeah. And I, as a guy who went to flight school in college, never finished, but went. I'm really excited about this one because of the again, the motif, what it's going to be like. And I don't think we have a vintage air themed brewery. And they're building it up from scratch, so they're not taking over space, so they can actually put their vision on this. Mm-hmm. So we're excited about this one, and we will have more updates when they come available, y'all.
Yeah, well, my entire thing is brewery travel. That's my moniker. So obviously a brewery themed around traveling and of course beer. That's right up my alley. And it says they do also plan to have food as well for folks that are wondering. So they did do a lot of brew pub visits, so it would make sense that they would want to have that as part of their own experience.
Amen.
So
brewery food keeps people in the seats, man.
Yes, it does. And so next up, we have another new build, and that is at Shattered Glass Brewery, which is going to be in Beaver Dam, which for those that may not be fully, fluent with Wisconsin geography, it's kind of halfway between Madison and Fond du Lac, northeast of Madison, southwest of Fond du Lac. So yeah, this is going to be a new build, and it's going to be located right on kind of an inlet of Beaver Dam Lake. So it's going to, have that water view and water experience. The renderings look very, very beautiful. I could not find anything about the name itself, kind of, semi-limited information, but I think this is going to be a great one. Another small brewery that's going to include a restaurant. So, and I know in my, we were discussing and looking through some of their past posts, and they were at the Fond du Lac Brew Fest. And so they had several beers there on tap. I don't know if any of those beers kind of popped out in your eyes there, Greg.
Oh, for sure. You already know. Nice setup here, because I see that I see that they're going to have a nut cut porter, which is a peanut butter porter.
That was the one I saw too. Great minds think alike.
Shout out to Dangerous Man, who recently closed, who had one of the best peanut butter porters in this region. So hopefully Shattered Glass can keep that tradition going with that. So yeah, that's really good. I also see a sour ale and a NEPA. So it looks like they're going to try to hit kind of every every genre here. So that's going to be good. And some of our friends know them, so we're excited about this one, and always interested to make sure that a build from the ground. Y'all know there's so many problems with that, so let's just keep our fingers crossed that things go well with Shattered Glass. So yeah. If you're good with Shattered Glass, we can.
So the next one was one of the ones that little bit less information on overall. So this is Lost Apostle Brewing, and it is right up there by the Apostle Islands. It's located in Washburn, which is up there near Ashland, about as far north as you can get in the great state of Wisconsin. This is yet another new build site. It is on the site of the Broke Down Palace, which was a local building there that housed a bar and a theater, but had to be torn down. And apparently the owner, Badger Kolish, he actually built up different brew pubs, including one in Duluth and Canal Park. I don't know if folks are familiar with that area. A lot of good breweries up there. And originally it said that he had wanted just to repurpose this building, but it was beyond saving and would have cost much more to try to save this building and refurbish it than it would have to tear down and build from scratch. So apparently the demo actually started almost 2 years ago now. But a little more recently, this last fall, they had a breaking ground event there in, I believe it was September, the Gather and Break Ground, where they actually were breaking ground and hopefully going to be starting with the building process. There have not been any other updates to this point, although I will say that when you're that far north in Wisconsin, I would have to imagine that starting a full-scale building, like a full-scale build, starting it in late fall would probably not, behoove you for very much time to get stuff done. And so I don't know exactly, how the weather has played in their favor or against their favor. But we will certainly have our eyes on this. Plans to have a kitchen. We don't really know a whole lot else about it though, Greg.
No, we do not. And that's fine. And yeah, I got really not much to say, y'all. Let's just stay tuned on this one. This is one that we dug up recently too. And again, these builds from the ground have so many different fail points. So let's keep our fingers crossed on this one.
Yes.
Great location though. I love Duluth as a spot for beer.
Yes. Well, and you'll notice that on all of these, we have not been able to state any type of opening timelines. So, until we have that, it's kind of, a hold your breath and let's hope for the best. But we're just reporting on what we have. However, the next place that we're talking about does have a tentative opening timeline. And that is Derriere Brewing out of Seymour, Wisconsin, which is just a little ways west of Green Bay. So the Packer fans up there won't have too far of a drive. Veteran owned by Tad Edges. It is going to be on Main Street, and this is not a full new build. Doing a little bit of digging. It's the former Cellcom phone store, I believe, is there in Seymour. And you can see there, if you're watching live right now, this is a screenshot of their Facebook post that they had recently and announced that they are planning, hopefully, for their grand opening to be the first weekend in August. So leading through here into spring and then having the summer to hopefully be able to finalize taproom stuff and get the ball rolling with all their beers and get the word out to all the locals there. So yeah, this is certainly an intriguing one because this guy has been a home brewer for a while, it seems like, and has some chops and won some awards. I saw that they won a home brewing contest at Copper State a little while back, and they have this 5-barrel system. They've been posting a lot of videos about, kind of the taproom and brewery building process, going live and whatnot to kind of try to show people around a little bit. But yeah, I mean, they've got a pretty extensive list of beers. I don't know, again, like I got the list there, if anything kind of pops out at you there, Greg.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Door County Cherry Bliss Sour Ale, very interesting. Using Wisconsin ingredients there. And then sweet apple pie smoothie beer.
Hey, you know what? We'll always get a taster of stuff, and I'm a big pumpkin spice ale guy. I only got a couple that I get consistently though every year, but I am always going to try a pumpkin beer if it's offered. Although that one will probably, I would assume, come back around. Maybe I guess if they opening up in August, August, September now, people are pumping out pumpkin beer. So who knows? That may already be coming down the line. I would guess that a tropical chaos, like if they have a tropical chaos pale ale, I would assume that something like that may be one of the staples, but we'll have to see. But this is another one that I think is going to be a nice addition up there, hopefully, to the whole Green Bay area. I know that it's been in the works for a while. They were looking for a long time for the right location, which is, we just did this when we talked about Radix last time. Like, finding the right location is a difficult thing for a lot of breweries. I mean, heck, the first 3 that we talked about are trying to build their whole own new locations. So, but yeah, so we will keep our eyes out for any more announcements from Derriere, and if we have any set for sure openings, we will be sure to discuss those and pass those along when the time comes.
That's great. And no mention of food here, but we'll see. Probably some food trucks or something like that. And again, the reason I care about food is not because of the beer, it's because of it keeps people in the seats there. And it's also something that people plan around sometimes, having lunch at a brewery while somebody imbibes.
My wife doesn't drink beer, but she will occasionally go with me to eat the food. So, bringing in another butt in the seat. So,
right. One of my close friends always says the best you can find the best food at breweries. So,
agreed.
That's good and bad. Not good and bad, but that's a different perspective, y'all. So, and also Joe's going to offer a different perspective, or maybe not, of an event that we're really interested in here.
Well, and we're going to continue to plug this every time that we do this. That's actually, we haven't told you. Yeah, this is just the whole reason that we can keep doing these every week. To plug our upcoming beer release that will be taking place at the Lager and Friends Festival at Gathering Place right here in Milwaukee. We will most likely be doing some sort of release the night before, but if you want to come and try the beer that myself, Greg, Chris Drosner, and Landon was there in spirit as well, brewed with the Gathering Place folks, a really hopefully tasty Vienna lager, I would imagine. We will be serving it at our own tent at the Lager and Friends Festival. And so that takes place, again, if you are just listening and not watching, on Saturday, May 31st from 12 to 4. Breweries from all over the area and the region are bringing their best lagers. There's some incredible breweries. And if you're like me and the rest of the Badger Beer Report guys, lagers are just the best out there. And this event is really fun because it's not one of those beer festivals that is super overcrowded. And you can come and hang out with us for a while and chat about beer. I think that's just going to be a really fun time for all of us, for sure. So, Greg, I know you've got some stuff you want to talk about as well. Oh, here, I will go to my thing first. So I am, again, just shouting out my book, Flights Across America. And I'm also teasing that coming up, almost next month, because in June, I will be doing a couple events. I will not be announcing the breweries quite yet, but you can be watching my social media spaces on Brewery Travels for them. I will be doing events in Green Bay as well as the Twin Cities area coming up in June, 2 areas that I have not been able to bring the book to for events. So I am very excited about that. And yeah, so I think keep your eyes peeled for that. And Greg, if you want to hop in on the Some Nerve stuff, otherwise we can come back to that.
Oh no, let's do it right now.
Perfect.
Just want to shout out Some Nerve Brewing for bringing in a lot of the information that we're bringing y'all today. Bill and Jessica are great people, but they're also connected people in the community, and they have told Joel and I a couple different ones here this evening that weren't on our radar. So we want to shout out to them for that information and say thank you. Also, if y'all want to know a little bit more about Some Nerve Brewing in Manitowoc Waters, Wisconsin, which is way up north, y'all.
Way up north.
And it's a great place for when y'all go up north for the summer. Nice place to stop in. You can we recently did a podcast with them, about an hour long, with them talking about how they came to do this and how it's a retirement business and how they do that as a 2-man unit, y'all. There's only 2 people that run that whole place. So that's very impressive. From that point of view, you don't really have that many breweries that only run with 2 people. A handful maybe we can even talk about. But so yeah, check them out, y'all. It's a really interesting story. You can find that on badgerbeerreport.com. You can find it on our Facebook page, which is shown right there. But yeah, shout out to Bill for all this broadcast here would not be happening without Bill. So shout out to Bill. So on that note, speaking of this broadcast,
they are also mentioned in the book as well, FYI, for people that are Some Nerve fans. But speaking of following up on some news here, this was one that you just kind of brought to our attention recently, Greg, and that is Gnarly Cedar. And this is a brewery that's been around for a little while. Folks kind of in the greater area, Appleton, Green Bay-ish, can maybe familiar. But they have been located in Greenleaf, and they've been part of also having a winery. And we believe that they've been 2 separate entities, but also the same location, same overall business. But the brewery is now moving and will have their own standalone location in Wrightstown, which is not too far away. It's kind of there between, again, kind of that Appleton corridor up towards Green Bay. And it's going to be located on the Fox River. And this is one that the build-out has been happening. They're hoping to be able to open in the summer. It's the former Public Works building. Apparently, Wrightstown actually reached out to Gnarly Cedar because they knew that they had been looking for a space for the brewery. And yeah, I think based on the renderings and the location that it's going to be on the river, and the fact that it's an established brewery that's coming, I think this is going to be a really nice spot.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed by. We talked about. I wasn't impressed by the first look, but I didn't see the second look. The second look, the rendering. What
it looks like now versus what it's supposed to look like in the future.
It's just like, wow, we got to do a lot of work here. But what the rendering looks great, and I hear really good things about where they're at now. So there's a level of, I think, that they have that they want to establish with this to carry over. So looking forward to this one again, and hoping the best because again it's another build, but it's another takeover. And Joel and I always love when breweries take over spaces that were previously used by something else and make it their own.
Yep.
So looking forward to that. I see food here too, so that's a good thing. I hear right by the river there. So that's nice, because again, we spend so much time inside here in Wisconsin. When it's time to get out, y'all. So I hopefully it's like a beer garden type situation once you walk out. And then inside you can have, the nice things that they have at the place that they have now. I've never been there, but I've heard nothing but nice things about it. So hopefully, I don't know if we have, we don't, they want to move. Oh, they're hoping to open in summer, so that's good.
They are.
Maybe we'll have some news for y'all in a couple months.
Yes, and if you go to their website, that's really the only thing that they're promoting is that they're hoping within the next couple months to open up this place in Wrightstown. And the other thing that I really like about this too is that we've already mentioned that the one brewery, Shattered Glass, is in Beaver Dam, and there's technically one brewery there, Uga, but all of these others that we have discussed so far are in these smaller communities that do not have their own local brewery to this point, which I think is really, really neat that they are able to bring these to these communities to have this kind of standalone community place. So I'm hoping for the best for them as well as all the other ones that we have mentioned, of course. The other one is a brewery that we're pretty familiar with down here in the Milwaukee area, and they are moving to a place that has very quickly become a hotbed for craft beer that we can discuss more here. And that is Ope Brewing out of here in West Dallas. And they just announced, I think this, what was this? Was this literally a day or two after our event or after our last show, Greg? It was like right afterwards.
Day, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it was another one that was the next day. They announced, coming soon, Ope North. So they are moving up, not moving, sorry. Well, they are opening a second location in Appleton, right there on College Avenue, which is one of the main veins through the city, west, just a little bit west of downtown. And Ope is one that has really grown a lot since they opened. Yes, keep saying open, enough times, and it'll be a little bit of a tongue twister. But they really grew out their space there in West Dallas. They've got outdoor volleyball and just a really large outdoor area in general. A huge, beautiful tap room that's got a big stage for live music. They will occasionally host very small named local authors who want to bring their book into the tap room. That's what I've heard, at least. But yeah, I mean, they've really grown their overall beer brand too. They do a really diverse, they have a diverse tap list of everything, but they've also really gotten into the seltzers, fruit sours, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this one's a little bit further out. It said that they're hoping to open early 2026. So it sounds like this is going to be a little bit more time for it to be more of a build out, Greg, is what I'm understanding.
Yeah, that Appleton beer scene, y'all's quickly becoming one of the ones that we should be looking at a lot and planning to visit, if not this summer, in the future. They already got a bunch of bangers up there already, and now we got other people coming in like Ope, and coming up, we'll talk about another one too. But yeah, Appleton's becoming a real hotbed, y'all. Check it out.
Yep. Well, and so in this Ope space, they are going to carry over, is what it sounds like. They're planning to carry over the success that they've had with their outdoor spaces here in West Dallas. They want to have a patio, live music. They also want to add volleyball again, as well as pickleball, cornhole, all that kind of stuff. Because they, like I said, they have multiple sand volleyball courts there in West Dallas. So I'm guessing that they are hoping to do that, which when you have all this going on, that may be why they have a little bit longer of a timeline to get this all done. They also are going to have a second taproom space, they say, that can be used for rented out for events. So this really sounds like it is going to be a pretty large venue for the Appleton craft beer scene to be adding.
Amen.
Yes. And then so the next one is a really good opportunity. I know we've kind of discussed before when we do our beer statistics at the end of the show, and we talk about the number of breweries, and I have the number of breweries, the number of additional locations, and then I have the other category. And I know I think we've mentioned before in the past kind of what the other category represents and stands for. But in this case, this is a good opportunity to kind of really provide a true, not a definition, but this is one of these breweries that falls into this category for us. And it's one that we were not aware of. They've been around for a little bit of time. And the reason that I think we weren't aware of them as much is because they don't have their own tap room. This is Nicolay Ale Works. And they have been brewing beer now for a few years. And they actually have beer on tap. And oh my gosh, I'm blanking on, let me look here. On what the town they are in. De Pere. Yes, that's right. I knew it was Green Bay area. Up in De Pere, they have beers on tap at a couple different venues up there. And so they are a brewery. They are brewing their own beer. And they are serving it on tap in the area. And so it should be counted in some capacity as, a local brewery that you can go and get. But we have it in this other category because they don't have their own venue where you can go and get the beers on tap where it's just Nicolay beer. But yeah, and they have a pretty wide range of beers. I was on their website, Greg, they run a gauntlet. They have, double IPAs, coffee cream ales. They had a barrel aged Belgian triple. They had Kolsch, a lot of different stuff. And then you were pointing out to me, I think you saw when we were looking at the website, that they have another side of the business that seems pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, and I forgot.
Oh, that's okay. Well, so the other thing that they have going on is
we got a lot going on, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, so they will actually brew. If you reach out and you can work with them, and they will brew you a beer for whether it's a corporate event or a wedding. Maybe you have a lot of friends in a really big birthday party. I don't know, but they will apparently work with you on beer recipes and styles, all that kind of stuff. And that just seems like a pretty fun thing, depending on what type of event you have. Seems pretty neat. So yeah, this is one that if you're in the De Pere area, maybe you've already heard of these guys, but if you haven't, go step out. I can't remember the places that if you go to Nicolay Ale Works, they have a Facebook page that I think they post about where you can, they post about when a certain beer is on tap in certain establishments. So if you're curious about them, definitely go and follow that Facebook page, and you can hopefully be able to drink some. I think that's a pretty fun thing for them to be able to do.
I'm curious about them, and I think I'm going to send a media request.
Yeah, so, let's do it. I think that'd be really interesting. Yeah, because
there's that.
Like I said, one thing we like to cover on this, on the Badger Beer Report, are interesting kind of business models and the way that breweries are also unique. So, and
unique.
Yeah, well, and speaking of Appleton, we were just talking about how Appleton is rapidly becoming a craft beer destination, because they're now going to be at what? I don't do what do we count? No, not quite that many, but I think like 7, 8. Like they're getting up there, and then once you factor in all the other little communities right next to them, it's becoming a craft beer destination. So
if you count Neenah, they're at 10.
Yeah. So this is one that we have discussed a couple different times now on the show. Vault 202. They are repurposing a bank, and they have continued to post more updates. This just looks like a really fun project. They've been posting a few more interior pictures more recently, which I think is really, really great. And we are actually going to be interviewing the owner. I'm going to be interviewing him tomorrow, but we haven't discussed yet when we're going to be posting that or not, but we're going to get a little more information about the whole process behind Vault 202, why they chose not just Appleton, but a bank. And just getting a little bit more lowdown for the folks to see what they're going to be able to expect. On this Facebook post, because they do promote it, it's in the name. They kept the actual bank vault in the building. It says they're going to have pizza and wings, and it just sounds like it's going to be a pretty cool taproom experience. And the guy behind it, I'm not going to drop too much information, but if you want to, we're going to want to turn to this interview, because the guy behind this Vault 202 has some serious brewery chops in terms of experiences. He has been at several breweries, and there are some names in there that are not in Wisconsin, but that folks may recognize. This is one that I think folks should be tuning into. It says they are still planning on opening here summer of 25. So yeah, like I said, we're probably going to continue to update about Vault leading up to the actual opening, because this is one that I think all of us at Badger Beer Report are pretty excited about.
Well, and we should, because the person who's ahead of all these things, again, as Joel's mentioned, has good brewery chops, but also he absolutely knows how to run a successful brewery. You can just tell by his resume. So with that being said, a lot of us, and what I mean by us, I mean, well, I'm not part of that, but a lot of breweries start, knowing how to brew beer, but not knowing a lot of the nuances of maybe even the area that they're in. But I believe this guy not only knows the area that he's in, he also knows the landscape. So we're excited about this one. We'll have more probably next week. Y'all be hearing more from us about 202. And on that note, I think we get to our last update, Joel.
Yeah. So This is one that, again, another one that we've been updating pretty consistently here. Brewed Omen in Hartford. They've been in the process of moving from just a craft beer tasting room and tap room into its own brewery. And on the 25th, they moved in all this brewing equipment. So that is pretty exciting. According to the Facebook post, they said it went well. Although if it didn't go well, they probably wouldn't have told us. So yeah, this is one that I'm excited about within striking distance here in Milwaukee. And yeah, just a quick little update. We'll probably have more from them as we get closer. Because they said it sounded like the construction wasn't going to take too long because they're only doing like adding in the brewery. They're not having to build out all the other stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah, quick note before we get out of here. Since Brewed Omen has come into our purview within the past, I guess, month and a half, I've been noticing and keeping an eye on, how everything runs there. And social media wise, it looks like they run like a brewery. I mean, they have weekly events. They have they're really in touch with their community. So this is just going to be seamless. It feels like. And they already have craft beer, so their people already are tuned into the craft beer. They're tuned into the food that they already present there. So I don't know. This one is already established clientele and with the locals, and again, very very connected with the events that they drew. So this one, this is gonna be fun. Wait till we get there. It's gonna be another one that we put on our list. So shout out to Brewed Omen, and we'll update y'all when it's time.
Well, and just a quick rundown again, if people are watching, these are all the things we're still keeping an eye on with things that we have talked about in the past that have new locations or full new openings. I'm hoping that we get some more news from Fond du Lac Beer Company pretty soon, as well as Boulder Junction. I know we covered Angry Minnow last time we talked, and I reached out to them to try to get some clarification on this new location. I have not heard back from them yet. But yeah, Gravity Box, Foxtown, Hop Yard, Mobcraft, Bull Falls, Brewfinity, Hop Garden, all that stuff. It's all still going on. You will hear from us again when we have, more information. It's a little bit easier once we've already discussed them, like all the ones that we talked about today, or not all of them, but all those brand new ones that we talked about today. Once we're just covering kind of little updates, it's easier just to slot them in quickly. But yeah, we just felt with all the stuff going on that we needed to post updates. And I know a lot of you have seen, this has been the graphic that I've been updating here since we kind of got all this influx of news, and all of these logos are all the stuff that we've been having opened or learned about opening just in the last couple months. It's pretty crazy, honestly. Pretty exciting time right now for Wisconsin craft beer. And I hope that all these ones that we talked about today are able to get off the ground and find some success. So that's where we're at right now. Still pretty similar numbers, but I mean, hopefully in the next couple of months, we're going to be adding some ticks to some of these boxes, Greg.
Yes. And I would say let's keep an eye out on Fond du Lac and Mobcraft. Those are probably the first ones that we might see come over the finish line here. The rest of the ones are kind of long term, and we will take our time with that.
Cannot rush these folks. They, there is so much to, a lot of things, and not just the ones on this graphic here. I'm talking about all the ones that we talked about earlier today. Ones that have planned openings, don't have planned openings. Like, there are so many things that go into this process. And so we want breweries to open when it's best for them. Like, we don't want them to rush into this. And I'm grateful that hopefully we're going to be able to see a lot of these cross the finish line, and hopefully be able to have a lot of us go check these out. Several of them are within striking distance from me. Within me, I know a couple are within striking distance from you. So we should be able to get boots on the ground for several of them when the time comes. Although I think the one, what was Lost Apostle, I think we might have to draw straws for who has to make the trip up to Washburn. Because that one might be a little bit of a haul for any of them. I guess Landon's kind of up there. That might have to be his assignment.
We could also send Bill from Some Nerf.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's gonna have to.
We got two people up there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Joel. So keep a hold of our social media, y'all, because we had a brewery report tonight, so there will be news tomorrow. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
So we will have something for you tomorrow, guaranteed. Please check especially our Facebook, but we post on Instagram,
and
we push from there to Threads and Facebook. So if you're on any of those, you will get our updates. And Joel, I always give you the last word because this is the Brewery Report podcast.
And if you're watching this on Twitter or wherever else, if you are not subscribed to the YouTube, please go subscribe to the YouTube. We really appreciate the support. And that way you also get notified whenever we're going to be going live and doing a lot more updates, as well as a lot of the different interviews and events that we'll be discussing on top of all of that. And as always, whether it is where you're visiting or where you're living, be sure to drink local everywhere.